Hello crypto world, and welcome back to another episode of The Accountant's Perspective. I'm your host, Michael Navarro, your cryptocurrency analyst. And if you're new to the show, this is a YouTube channel dedicated to cryptocurrency news. We're going to start off with showing you the CoinMarketCap top 10 cryptocurrencies. So let's get right into it. We've got Bitcoin leading, of course, at number 1 with a 1.06% growth over the past 24 hours. Ethereum up 4.35%. Ripple, Bitcoin Cash both up 3 and 8%. EOS down a little bit over the past 24 hours as a correction due to all of the hype surrounding the EOS mainnet launch. Litecoin is positive 1.57%. Cardano is positive 0.77%. Stellar is positive 1.39%. And Iota is down 3.96%. Also possibly a correction due to all of the hype surrounding the Iota QUBIC launch. And last but not least, we have Tron at number 10, up 1.31%. So let's go ahead and move on to the biggest gainers of the week. And here we have at number 1, Zilber Coin. Number 2, we have Authorship, Whale Coin at number 3, Nexty at number 4, and Zeta Micron at number 5. Now these are the biggest gainers over the past 7 days. We can see that Nexty has the most volume, probably the most significant winner there. Let's go ahead and move on to the losers of the week. Here we have Bastonet at negative 95%, Petrova at negative 91% over the past 7 days, Rhenium negative 69%, Transcodium negative 57%, and Dascoin negative 51%. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into the number 1 topic of the week, guys. We have Asus, which announced an H370 mining master motherboard. Now the motherboard is supposed to be capable of supporting up to 20 graphic cards. So this is going to go ahead and lower the hardware cost to everybody that's out there mining, rather than buying multiple motherboards that are going to have to host multiple GPUs. You can go ahead and do it with this one new H370 mining master motherboard by Asus. It's specifically targeted towards cryptocurrency miners, so it's very nice to see that Asus is creating customized hardware for the cryptocurrency community. This specific motherboard is going to be debuting June 5th through June 9th. It's going to be debuting at an event called Computex 2018, and this event is supposed to take place in Taipei, Taiwan. The Asus H370 will be available in late 2018 for ordering. Moving on to our next topic, very exciting here. The SEC just froze the assets of Titanium blockchain infrastructure services. Now let's go ahead and pull up the officers of this cryptocurrency. We can see Michael Stoller, the founder and CEO, at the left side of the screen, Richard Silver, Martha Breed, Daniel Bereski, and Simon Studd. The SEC have not commented on the officers, on the 4 officers to the right, and the SEC complaint right now is only targeting Michael Stoller. However, we are not sure what the involvement was for the other officers. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they were not involved in this fraudulent ICO offering. Let's get into the details of the ICO. According to the SEC, Titanium was reported to have raised approximately $21 million in its ICO from investors in and outside of the United States. The emergency asset freeze also follows an appointment of a receiver for Titanium blockchain infrastructure services, and the SEC complaint is seeking for the return of allegedly ill-gotten gains plus interest and penalties, and a bar to prohibit Stoller from participating in offering digital securities in the future. The SEC claims that Stoller used a create and inflate scheme. That's what they're calling it, create and inflate. And according to the SEC, this earned him illegal profits at the initial outset of the ICO. And Stoller also made, according to the SEC, unsubstantial claims in hopes of selling digital assets at inflated values. You can see all of the details of the SEC complaints. When I post this video towards the end, I'm going to go ahead and show all of my sources. You can log on, you can see the full PDF, and it goes into 100% detail. Everything you need to know about titanium, blockchain, infrastructure services. If you are an investor, please go ahead and read that complaint, and hopefully there will be more instructions issued by the SEC. On to our next topic, very short topic. The Nobel Prize winning economist and Yale professor Robert Shiller tells CNBC's Trading Nation when he was asked, do you think BTC will face extinction over the next 100 years? He says, I don't mean to be dismissive of Bitcoin, but it looks like a bubble. But it's getting people enthusiastic. He goes on to say, something good may come out of this. And it's always nice just to see Robert Shiller, of course, a very renowned economist, Yale professor, Nobel Prize winner, recognizing that, you know, you can't be too dismissive of Bitcoin. You do have to give Bitcoin the benefit of the doubt that there may be something that is going to develop in this space. I, of course, running this cryptocurrency news channel, believe that there is a lot of potential in the cryptocurrency space, and that is why I try to inform everybody that's in the cryptocurrency space of all the most recent news. Moving on to the next headline is the EOS story. On top of the EOS story, there is the Iota story. These are two major developments for two very major cryptocurrencies. Let's start off with EOS, and then we'll go ahead and move into Iota. So EOS finally completed its ICO. The ICO lasted for 1 year, and coins were offered every 23 hours, I believe it is. And the ICO raised a grand total of $4 billion according to a Wall Street Journal article. Block 1 is now, or has been mentioned to be, the largest Ethereum holder. Ethereum currently processes 5 transactions per second, according to Vitalik Buterin, and EOS is claiming to be able to process 1,000 transactions per second, according to the most recent software release, 1.0. Block 1 has also pledged to invest more than $1 billion in startups building on the EOS platform. So this is very interesting because most of the cryptocurrencies that launch ICOs normally develop their own applications that work with their software. But in the case of EOS, we're seeing a very new approach to this. But EOS is revolutionary in and of itself because the ICO took place over a year and it took place in stages. So it's very interesting to see now that EOS, with this very large pool of capital, is going to go ahead and, rather than build its own applications, it's going to invest $1 billion in these startups and cryptocurrency developing projects that are supposed to build on top of the EOS project. So far, of the $1 billion that it has committed to, EOS has already dedicated about $725 million worth of the $1 billion, and the $725 million is going to be dedicated, or has been pledged, to SVK Crypto, Tomorrow Blockchain Opportunities, Galaxy Digital LP, which is a Mike Novogratz company, FinLab AG, Michael Cao, and Winnie Liu. These are all financial technology, cryptocurrency, investment firms, or venture capital firms. And so with $725 million of this commitment allocated, there leaves $275 million to be allocated. So very exciting to see what EOS is going to do with the remainder of the capital. Speaking of $1 billion investments, Binance also announced a $1 billion fund to back blockchain and crypto startups. So we're seeing two very large, very major cryptocurrency companies, EOS and Binance, each investing $1 billion for a total of $2 billion worth of capital being injected into the cryptocurrency market. And I think this is the first step, well, it's not the first step, but it's definitely one of the major steps that is being taken to build the infrastructure of these cryptocurrencies. Very interesting to see that Binance and EOS have both dedicated $1 billion, and EOS announced this in I believe December of 2017. Binance announced the $1 billion a few days ago. So very good things happening to the infrastructure of cryptocurrencies. On to the next major event. Iota just released QUBIC. QUBIC, which stands for Quantum Based Consensus, is supposed to be a platform with 3 major features. And the 3 major features include oracles, outsourced computations, and smart contracts. So with the QUBIC launch, Iota has mentioned that this will be its priority for 2018 and 2019. The idea behind the Quarum Based Consensus is to allow developers to create, as we've mentioned on the 3 major features, smart contracts, outsourced computations, and oracles. Oracles are supposed to integrate the blockchain world with the physical world. Except with Iota, we don't have a blockchain. We actually have a DAG. And a DAG stands for a directed acyclic graph. And Iota claims that the directed acyclic graph is supposed to be more efficient than blockchain because it doesn't require a separate miner for the transaction. The DAG and Iota is supposed to be supported by each participant in the network. So if you initiate a transaction, then as the transactor, you are supposed to process that transaction. Also, you process an additional transaction in order to balance the network and add computing power to the network. The idea is to have a feeless structure, and it's supposed to allow for micropayments. So with that DAG network being able to communicate with the physical world through temperature data from connected sensors, or stock value data from stock markets, or even personal attributes such as age, marital status, and deceased status, and election results, we can now have the DAG communicate with the physical world, and once the sensor detects a specific attribute, then this can tell the smart contract, which is layered on top of the oracle, to initiate a response. And with the help of outsourced computations, you're supposed to be able to extrapolate some data from the oracles. So if the oracles were feeding data every minute, then the outsourced computation service that is complementing the oracles should be able to give you an average of the output received from the oracles. So Iota is hoping that the smart contracts are used for layered solutions, as the ones that I've just mentioned. And it is really hoping that people don't just use the smart contracts in the way that they're used on the Ethereum network, which is mainly for token launches of ICOs. One of the applications they recommend is a Forex trading tool. So with the oracles being able to fetch market data, and the outsourced computation service on top of the smart contract, under the smart contract, you should be able to conduct some type of Forex trading, but you will need a digital currency to be pegged to the US dollar and the euro, for example. And so, you know, it's still very early stages to have a project of that magnitude, but I do believe it's possible. They mention it on the QUBIC homepage, and Iota has mentioned that they are still working on QUBIC and it is still in process, but they released this information because many investors and many cryptocurrency token holders have been eager to hear the most recent developments of Iota. I think that's going to do it for today. The last bit of news I have is that the visa system was down in Europe, and it led to a few people questioning the Visa's centralized technology. So that might open up a conversation in the future for alternatives to Visa. For now, I think that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you thought that the information was helpful, please subscribe to the channel, and please tune in a couple weeks for the next episode of The Accountant's Perspective. Thank you.